Okay, so um, I help women look forward in their lives instead of focusing on the past. And I have survived the worst, and I am uh, living my best life, to be honest. Sorry, I just got a text. Somebody was trying to find the link. Uh, I'm just going to record it and send it to them. So what we're going to go over is what is the Camino de Santiago? Why are women called to walk it? Is it safe? Many women ask me if they would be alone. Um, how much does it cost? How much should you budget? What does a typical day on the Camino de Santiago look like? And then what should I bring? And also, everyone who is here today will get a packing list, a PDF that will help them in their preparation and their packing. And then we'll have questions and answers. So um, we will go ahead and get started. Oops, wrong way. Hello. Come on. Okay, so what is the Camino de Santiago? And hopefully everybody can see. There's a picture of me in the fog.
Yes.
Okay. The Camino de Santiago, if you've never heard of it, most of you have heard of it because that's why you're here. It's known as the Way of St. James. It's a network of pilgrimage routes in Europe leading to the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela in Galicia, northwestern Spain. The cathedral is believed to house the remains of James the Greater, who was one of Jesus' 12 apostles. Pilgrims embark on this journey for various reasons, including religious, spiritual, introspection, personal growth, physical challenge, and cultural immersion. I am not Catholic. I'm actually not religious at all. So it was not a religious pilgrimage, but I met plenty of people who were. And what I loved about it is you could take what you want and leave what you want. I did go to one pilgrim's mass, and it was great, but that was all I needed to go to. And I had a friend that went to every pilgrim's mass that she went into, and she was Catholic. So for me, it was more of a personal thing. It is an inclusive journey, welcoming people from all walks of life, all faiths, nationalities. It's a diverse community that fosters a unique environment for shared experiences and connections. So hang on just a second. Um, so what I didn't know when I started is that it's not just walking across northern Spain. The Camino de Santiago is all over Europe. So I met people that were walking from Austria, from northern France. Back in the ninth century, pilgrims would leave from their front door. So wherever they lived, that's where they started their Camino. They were doing it because they believed in the miracles. And so they would walk, and you can see from this map, people walked from all over. And to this day, I met somebody who walked from Rome. Um, Plenty of people were walking from France. Le Puy is a very common part. It's just south. It's see it, but near Lyon, France. Um, but so people walk from all over Europe. So this map shows the majority of the Camino routes in Spain. I did the Camino Frances, and I don't know if you can see my cursor, but that it's a long one there. I thought about doing the Norte, which is up on the Bay of Biscay, like near San Sebastian and Bilbao and that area. But it is it's more physical, which I didn't mind. It's also less popular. And as my first solo venture, I felt that the Francaise would be safer because there are more pilgrims, more robust infrastructure. And I was correct. It was all about the Camino, and I never found myself alone, and I never felt unsafe. Um, so yes, I did the Camino Frances. That is a picture of my feet in Saint Jean Pied de Port. Um, it begins in Saint Jean Pied de Port in France. It goes over the Pyrenees Mountains, and then it goes into northern Spain. It passes through cities like Pamplona, Logroño, Burgos, Leon. It's about 800 kilometers, 500 miles. Now, I walked more than that because my Garmin watch said I walked longer than the what the route said it was. Probably because I did little side trips. I didn't walk in a straight line all the time. It takes 5 weeks. I started my Camino on May 24th, and I walked into Santiago on June 30th. So right around 5 weeks. I did take 2 rest days. I took a rest day in Pamplona because I did have some blisters. But that was because I bought my shoes big, like they suggest, and my heels were rubbing. So I just figured out a better way to tie my shoes and got the blisters taken care of. I also took a rest day in Burgos with a friend of mine who I met from Canada, and she and I just decided that Burgos would be a fun city to explore. So we stayed together and shared a hotel. Okay. And so, why walk the Camino, and why are women in particular walking the Camino? It is good for a transformative experience of self discovery, personal growth, and connection with nature and others. Camino offers a unique opportunity to disconnect from daily distractions, reflect on our lives, and develop a stronger sense of self. It's a safe and supportive environment for solo female travelers with a strong community and a chance to meet new people. I was in Spain for 2 months, and I have never felt less stressed in my life. Um, it was amazing. I just disconnected completely. I was able to talk to my children maybe once a week. They're grown children, so they don't really need mom every day. And I just focused on walking, eating, and sleeping. That's basically all I did. And it was very healing. So, why do you walk the Camino? Number one for me by far was the community. It was all about the people. And I thought that when I did the Camino, I would meet my Camino family in quotes, and I did. But what I didn't realize is that that Camino family would go away, and you would meet a new one, and then that would go away, and you meet a new one, and then an example, and then there's more pictures on the next slide. An example is the woman who's in the center picture at night. I met her on my very first day. We met at Orasan at lunch. It was her 68th birthday. We met on the very first day. We would see each other. She was with a woman from Tennessee. She's from Australia. And we would see each other now and again. Say, hey, Barb, hey, Lisa, and she was with a woman named Missy. And so we just sort of ran into each other occasionally, but like I would see her once a week. Then about 3-ish weeks into the Camino, I took a variant, which was a kind of a more scenic variant towards Samos instead of Saria, and ran into her and Missy. Missy was ready to start walking longer days because she was ready to get home to her kids. And Barb's like, hey, Lisa, let's walk. We about walk the same speed. And so she and I walked the last 5 or 6 days into Santiago together. Then she went off to Finisterre, but then she and I ended up walking again. So I started the Camino with her and ended the Camino with her, and then had all sorts of people in between. So it was amazing. And then the next slide shows this is only some of the countries that I could think of that of people that I met. I met people from all over the world. That was my favorite thing. Um, I stayed at one place and we had a communal dinner, and the host, it was a volunteer host. He said, "Okay, folks, I want to let you know at dinner tonight, 11 countries are represented. So when I name your country, I want you to wave your hand." And it was amazing. There were only two of us from the United States, Pearl from Georgia and me. Everyone else, we had a woman from Mozambique, we had people from Brazil, trying to think, oh, several from France, Portugal. It was amazing having 11 different countries at dinner. And then another thing is the views were spectacular. And the thing that I loved about it, it was different almost every day. If you've read about the Camino, some people say the meseta is boring and you should skip it, and I say no. It the meseta is a big it's a big mesa in the middle of Spain, and it's basically just wheat fields and grain fields. Let's see if I have a picture. The picture of that road is in the meseta. The meseta was just another part of it, and I wouldn't want to skip any of it. I walked through many wine vineyards, and then I went all the way to Finisterre and Lucia, and so I saw the Atlantic Ocean. So from mountains to plains to ocean, it has it all. There's also history and culture. It was so much more than being a tourist. I just felt immersed. So there were cathedrals in every major city. The city of Leon was a very big cathedral. That top right photo is designed by Antoni Gaudi, who, if you've heard of in Barcelona, he's done a lot of buildings in Barcelona, but it was just beautiful architecture. The Camino has been around since the 8th or 9th century. So the things I saw were older than our entire country by hundreds and hundreds of years. And by the way, that lower right is not Ku Klux Klan. That is part of the Knights of Templar, which is a sect of the Catholicism. The history and culture, the Camino culture, at least in northern Spain, is everywhere. So there are monuments and statues and artwork, and they have shells in the middle of sidewalks in cities, and it's everywhere in Spain, and it's part of their culture, and I just immerse myself in it. And of course, food and wine, because I'm all about food and wine. So the top picture is a picture of a typical breakfast. This is called a tortilla de patata, and it's basically an omelet of potatoes. And you can find them almost everywhere in Spain, and it's just really good. A friend of mine and I joked we would rate our tortillas. The good ones are not overcooked and they've got enough salt. But I'd usually get a tortilla, cafe con leche, and they had fresh squeezed orange juice everywhere, everywhere. One of the delicacies of Galicia, which is northern Spain, is pulpa, which is octopus, and that is on the left here. And I tried it. It was fine. I didn't love it. It was funny. I was eating with a gentleman from England and then a couple people from Taiwan and one from Korea. And the Taiwanese and Koreans, they love the outside, the suckers of the octopus, whereas the English guy and I were like, no, thank you. So we gave all the tentacles to the Taiwanese, and we just ate the meaty part. But there's paella in the lower left. Of course, wine, lots of wine, because we go through several different wine regions in Spain. Um, Scallops are a big part of the Camino. The upper right is patatas bravas, which is a very common appetizer. And then on the bottom, I ate an albergue, which had been started by a woman from South Korea, and so that was bibimbap, and it was delicious. And soup, a friend of mine from South Korea said it was very authentic. So safety on the Camino, I mentioned this earlier. So I walked solo, but I was never truly alone. There were some days that I walked with a group, some days by myself, but there were always other pilgrims somewhere. The infrastructure was there to support pilgrims. There is cell service almost everywhere, and if necessary, you could call a cab if you needed, or if you couldn't walk anymore. But I had an app that I downloaded for the Civil Guard, which is basically the kind of like a national police that would help just safety. It was a safety police force. And as always, when traveling anywhere, to use common sense. Keep your passport and money with you at all times. I had a crossbody bag, and I always kept it with me. I even took it into the shower with me. So, how much does it cost? My budget was around 50 euros a day, which is about $57, depending on what the exchange rate is. So albergues, which are the hostels that you stay in, were I paid as low as 9 euros. The most I paid was 36 euros. Um, if you opt for private rooms, it will be more. But I only had one room that was just the two of us, and we got a hotel room. Um, but other than that, I stayed mostly in dormitories, mixed gender, and it was usually fine. I mean, it was always fine. Breakfast is 4 euros, sometimes 9 euros. It depends on how close you were to bigger cities. Lunch or a snack, 8 to 15 euros. Almost everywhere has a meal of the day or a pilgrim meal, and that usually would include a starter, which is usually a salad or a soup, or sometimes pasta. A main course that was usually chicken or pork, lots of pork, lots and lots of pork in Spain, and then it would have some sort of dessert. Sometimes the dessert would be a delicious, mousse or something really good. Sometimes they just plopped a little container of yogurt in front of you or gave you an apple. It just depends on where you were. Sometimes little towns didn't have as much to offer. And sometimes the little towns had really, really good meals. So a typical day, usually I'd wake up between 5:30 and 6. I rarely had to set my alarm because other people would be getting up. We'd wake up in the dormitory and we'd quietly pack up gear. If I was lucky, everyone was getting up and the lights would be on and it would be easy. Otherwise, I would use my headlamp to pack up my sleeping stuff and leave with my backpack. I would walk for a bit until I found a coffee shop. Some albergues included breakfast, but as the weather got hot, a lot of times breakfast didn't start till like 7, and I wanted to start walking before 7 to beat the heat. So the longest I think I waited to find coffee was, well, one day I didn't find it at all, and that was not my favorite day, but because everything seemed to be closed that day. But another time, I think I walked 2 hours before I got coffee. So you have to be prepared for that. And then we would walk, 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 walk. I averaged about 15 miles per day, about 22 to 25 kilometers a day. My longest day was 34 kilometers, which is about 18 or 19 miles. But that was because I had planned on going one place, and then some of the friends that I had met texted me or WhatsApp messaged me that they thought that I would really like the place that they were staying and that I should walk the additional 7 kilometers to meet them. So I did. So usually midday we'd stop at a bar to get a Coke, or Aquarius is like a Gatorade, but not as much corn syrup. They were delicious. A Radler is a very low alcohol beer and lemonade mix. It's better than a shandy. It's everywhere in Spain, but it had like 2% alcohol, so it was very refreshing. Sometimes I would get a snack, sometimes not. Between about 1 and 3 p.m., depending on how far I went, I would arrive to my final destination for the day, check in, get my bunk, shower, and then we'd go eat dinner. And then 9 o'clock ish, we'd go to bed. And then we would repeat the next day. So I will also send each one of you this list of what to bring. So I had one pair of walking shoes. I had Ultra Olympus, one pair of sandals. They were Merrell lightweight walking sandals. And that was it for footwear. Two pair of hiking pants, but one of my hiking pants was long, one zipped off into shorts. And I really was glad I had those zip offs on the days it was really hot. I had 3 shirts. I had a short sleeve merino wool, a long sleeve from REI, like a sun shirt, and a tank top. And I just kind of went between those. I would do laundry. I could go 3 days. It wasn't the best when I went 3 days. I could wash just if I needed to. I could just wash in a sink. But then once Barb and I started walking, we would actually pay about €4 to do machine wash, and then we just dry our stuff on a line. So I had 3 pair of underwear and wool socks. I ended up only using 2 of my wool socks. One of my pair was just too thick and it caused heat rash. So I ended up with just 2 pair of socks. So the outfit for evening and sleeping, I ended up in Burgos, which was a few weeks in, buying a pair of pants because I was sick of only able to wash one pair of pants. And it was pretty, a little like flowy, pretty pants that I could wear out, and I didn't feel like I was hiking. So I bought that. So bring something lightweight maybe. And then I brought a poncho, and it went over my backpack. So when it rained, my backpack didn't get wet. So I brought a sleep sack. It's a reactor, Sea to Summit reactor liner. It's a sleeping bag liner. It was very lightweight. It's like a sheet that's like a sleeping bag. There was only one day that I was cold, and that they didn't have blankets. And most places have blankets. This one place was a donativo, which means it didn't have a charge. It was volunteer only. And they didn't have any blankets, and it was really cold. So I just slept in my puffy jacket and basically used everything I owned. I wore sleeping that night because it was chilly. And then one thing I didn't add on here that I will is obviously a backpack. Mine was a 28-liter backpack. Some people went as high as 45 or 50, but just remember that when you have a 50-liter backpack, you will fill it and it will weigh more. Mine weighed about 12 pounds. And then I had a crossbody that I also had. And so total what I carried was less than 100 or less than 14 pounds. You want to go with about 10% of your body weight or less, because the more it weighs, the more your feet will be yelling at you. So let's see what else would not be obvious on here. Universal travel adapter, like for Europe. Mine, I could plug in my external battery, I could plug in my phone, and I could charge headphones and things like that. So real quick, I'm going to play this video. This is everything that I am taking on the Camino. It looks like a lot, but we're going to all fit it in the backpack. This is a 28-liter Deuter Trail backpack. I have a couple stuff sack dry bags to separate things, 3 merino wool socks, 2 sports bras. One is merino and one is just a really comfy one that I can wear swimming. I have 2 pair of underwear. I might add one more pair, a sun hat, long hiking pants that are nice and light and comfy, long hiking pants that zip off into shorts. I have a short sleeve merino top, a tank top tech shirt, as well as a long sleeve sun shirt that I think will either keep me cool or warm, both. For sleeping, I have the Sea to Summer Liner Reactor. Hopefully that will be enough. If not, I found this really fun travel blanket that I think will help me on the plane, as well as maybe that cold night in the Pyrenees Mountains. And then underneath is a backpacking blow-up pillow. I have an REI camping towel and a little kind of a hand towel. This is laundry sheets and some Tide to Go wipes for if I spill on myself, I don't have to do laundry. This is a clothesline that I can dry my clothes, but also it can create some privacy in bunks in the albergues. This is my poncho and it fits over my backpack. It also goes down to my knees to help keep me relatively dry, because most likely it'll rain. It seems to be raining a lot this season, according to the people that are out there now. That is my puffy jacket. It's from Decathlon. I also have some toiletries, just some lotion. I have a bar of soap that will wash my hair and my body. Some earplugs. But in addition to earplugs, I also have these are headphones that also cover my eyes, so it'll be good in the albergues. I have some Thermacare, but also some moleskin and blister packs in my first aid kit, a headlamp, and these are cooler cloths that, so I can, if I am not near a village, I can wipe myself in the wild and they won't stink, and I can just wash them out in a sink. This is my European adapter and charger. I can charge anything I might have, my phone and my external battery pack. And then this is my crossbody bag. It is from a company called Shell Toucher. It was designed by a pilgrim from the Camino, and so I thought I'd give it a try. It does fit my collapsible water bottle. I'm just gonna carry this 1 liter water bottle and refill as I go along. So that is basically everything I'm gonna have for over a month. It will all fit in that backpack, and then also not counting the clothes that I will be wearing, including my shoes. My backpack comes to right around 11 pounds. I'm super stoked about that. My crossbody with a liter of water is about 3.5 pounds. So I'm not too upset about that at all. Okay. Okay. Okay, so wrapping up a little bit of the good, bad, and the ugly. Hopefully I haven't lost you because I can't see anything when I'm doing this. My favorite thing about the Camino, like I said, were the people. It was amazing, the people who I met. One favorite moment walking in Navarrete in La Rioja. It was pouring down rain that day. We went, our albergue host said, oh, there's wine tasting at the winery, but there wasn't. And so We were sitting outside this winery trying to figure out what to do. It was absolutely pouring, so you can see me wearing a poncho. And the owner of the winery came out, and the woman, the manager of the winery, is like, no, no, we only do wine tastings for big customers. And we were clearly not big customers. We were pilgrims. Um, so they gave us a little, the four of us, they gave us a little wine tasting, and it was amazing. And so the so Anna and Keely and Camille and myself from well, Camille is from the United States. Keely is from I believe the Netherlands, and Anna was from Denmark. And so we had this wonderful private wine tasting. So that was one of my favorite moments. Least favorite thing about the Camino is my sore feet. Every time there was a river, I would put my feet in it. My friends all knew if there was a river that I would be taking off my shoes and putting my feet in the river. An important moment for me was called at the Cruz de Ferro. It's a big cross, and you can see in the bottom pictures. And people leave stones there to leave a burden. And I actually left three. So I have pictures. The little purple heart was it's for my brother who passed away in 2023, and he still has my heart, and I left a heart for him. The one in the middle is a bigger stone, and that was leaving my burdens of the last few years of all the things that have happened to me. I just left them there. And then the bottom stone I left for a friend of mine who died in March of this year, who he and his wife walked the Camino. And at his memorial service, I was talking to his wife, and I told him that I would leave a rock for him. And so it was an interesting day because I walked all by myself. It was very emotional, but I felt much lighter afterwards. Okay, so let me stop my share for a minute and see if I've lost anyone. Hi, everyone. Oh, more people have joined. Yay. Hi, Penny. So what questions? Oh, Chris, yes, question.
Like to know what you learned about yourself on this excursion.
I knew you would ask me something hard like that, Chris. um, so, we talked about this in Santiago, a group of us, and what I thought is I learned that I'm tough, but not hard. I am untethered, but not lost. And I can do anything that I was amazed. After I walked this, I went and spent 2 more weeks kind of traveling around by myself. And I have, so when I first got to Europe, I had never been to Europe. I went to Paris and I was terrified. 2 days in Paris was very scary. But I did it and it was great. But then when I went to Porto and Barcelona, I just, I just feel like I can do anything. I was going through some of my video diaries, and there were some tough days. I had a video diary where I was pretty much sobbing, and it was because I was very lonely at the time, but I realized that I can I can figure it all out. I don't need someone to rescue me. I don't need, it really taught me um, that it's all about me. I I have I take responsibility for my own happiness. And probably before this, I would usually have my happiness tied to other people. So thanks for asking the question, Chris. Any other questions?
I don't know how to turn on the hand
Okay.
thing.
Hi,
This
Meg.
is
Thanks
Meg.
for
Hi.
coming.
So with regard to the places you stayed, was this something you had to do reservations? Do you just get there early enough and it's all, first come, first serve, that kind of thing?
That's a great question. So, the way that it was, so how I did it, I started in Saint Jean Pied de Port because I wasn't sure about how everything worked. I actually booked my first 4 nights ahead of time. Um, Two, because they book up quickly and they were very highly rated. So in Saint Jean Pied de Port, and I when I send my follow up email, I will send you some of these places. I made reservations in Saint Jean Pied de Port because this place it gets super high marks and it sells out. So I booked there the first night. So you can either walk all the way over the Pyrenees, 25 kilometers to a monastery in Roncesvalles, or there are two places halfway, or actually a little shorter than halfway, and those book up months and months in advance. So a few of those I booked in advance. So after Zubiri on my fourth night, I stopped booking up. So I walked into Pamplona with no reservation. It was a tough, long day for me. And I walked up to what's called a municipal albergue, and the municipal albergues don't take reservations. They also usually have a lot of availability. And I walked up, and it was €9 to stay in a dormitory with about 100 bunks in it. Um, and so um, it, I didn't have to make any reservation there. So on days, let's say it was only 20 kilometers, and I knew I would get into a town before 2 o'clock or maybe 2:30, then I wouldn't necessarily make reservations. I could walk in, figure out which albergue, say, hey, do you have any beds? And they would say yes. And you could go there. Or if I thought, oh, this is a long day, I'm feeling slow, some days I would make a reservation the night before. There was a time where I actually at noon at lunch did a WhatsApp message to an albergue saying, do you have beds tonight? They said yes. I said, can you save me one? And they said yes. And so I knew that I could calm myself down and walk into town knowing that somebody was saving me a bed. The third option, there's walk in, message the host, or you can go on booking.com. But I did talk to one of the owners of an albergue, and she said, I said, sorry, I didn't do booking.com. I just WhatsApped you instead. She goes, oh, I appreciate that. She says, I only release half of my beds to booking.com. She said, so my price is €15. She said, booking.com, you'll pay €16. But when you pay €16, I only get €14. She said, so if you do it through me, we both win because I pay 15, she gets 15 as opposed to. So booking.com sometimes worked in some of the bigger cities. I did booking.com because there were so many choices, and it was just, my friend and I just wanted to get a room with two twin beds. And so we just did booking.com and did it because we were there for 2 nights. So it just, you kind of get a good feel while you're walking. And then when my friend Barb and I were figuring out, we would just go, where do we want to go tomorrow? I don't know. And like 8 o'clock at night, we were like, let's do, let's go to this town, and this place gets good reviews. We'd read reviews on booking.com a lot of times. And then when we got closer and closer to Santiago de Compostela, we know that there's more and more people. So we actually made a couple days of reservations just at the end, just to make sure we had a place.
So, so from a listing standpoint, are there sites that have these listed? Is that how you kind of got a lot of that information?
Okay. Well, there's a couple things. So my friend Barb is she's 68 years old, so she's not a big tech person. So she carried around, and I don't have it with me. There's a book, and I will actually, it's the Brierley book, and all the albergues are listed in the Brierley book. but
Wow.
it's usually about the newest Brierley book is about 18 months outdated. So
Okay.
sometimes there's like a little bit of a gap, but for the most part, that's what she used. I had the Brierley book, but I also had two apps. I had one's called Wise Pilgrim,
Okay.
and Wise Pilgrim, um, basically you would click on a town and it would list all the accommodations. And then it would tell you if you could make a reservation or not. It would tell you if there's a WhatsApp or if you had to call, and all that through that. I also had an app called Grons, which it's not in English, so it was more as a secondary for me, because sometimes it would list things that Wise Pilgrim didn't. And just in case my GPS was weird, like Grons, sometimes the GPS worked better. So those are the three I use, is the book and then two Camino apps. But Wise Pilgrim is done by a guy named Michael. He does it for almost all the routes of the Camino. When I posted a question on a Facebook group and said, why would I want to pay for this app? Because I don't like paying for apps. And it was 99 cents. So it wasn't like it was a lot. Or maybe it was $4 for that. But he actually came and answered my question, not in a salesy way, and just said, here's what the paid version offers. Here's what the free version offers. And the fact that he took the time in a Facebook group to answer my question made me give him $4.
Deal. So speaking of payment, I mean, are you needing to bring a lot of cash, a lot of euros with you, or is it a lot credit cards, or how's that?
A lot of places take credit cards. I started out bringing about 400 euros. It probably was more than I needed, because every large city has ATMs.
Fair enough.
But all the municipals, all the donativos, the places that are the lower price will not take any credit cards. And then there are some little towns that don't have enough internet to have a credit card machine.
Got it.
So you have to have some cash, but you don't need thousands of dollars worth of cash. And usually if they take, I'll say tarjeta, and they're like, see, and I would use my credit card to keep my cash.
Okay.
So,
And final question, then I'll quit.
no, these are great questions.
Was your how much Spanish did you need to know to kind of get along?
I have a good basis of high school Spanish, but it's not necessary. I think what people really should try to do, but this is just my opinion, is should try to do a little Spanish. But there are plenty of people, and I'll tell you, Americans and Australians are the worst at this. They'll just, like, some lady, I want iced coffee. And the Spanish lady at this bar had no idea what iced coffee was. That was a completely like foreign concept to her. And then the ladies like gave her a thing of ice and a cup of coffee and, ice and coffee. And the woman got all annoyed. And I was just like, okay, we're in another country. We are in their home. But, that's the exception to the rule. What I would suggest is maybe if you were going, maybe doing a little Duolingo.
Yeah.
Just for like, where's the bathroom? And by the way, baño is not really bathroom in Spain. It's aseo, ASEO. Because I think baño is where you bathe. But I think aseo is more like a WC.
Oh yeah, okay.
So,
okay.
But yeah.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Did you do much training before you went, Lisa? Like walking?
I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I did a few hikes with my pack. I wanted to make sure that my shoes felt good, and then I could walk with my pack. I don't know if there's any way to truly train, because in order to train, you would need to walk for 6 hours. And I don't know anyone that has time to walk 6 hours days and days in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, most of us would only be able to walk 6 hours on Saturday, and then we have Sunday to rest. So, so to me, the training was the first 4 days.
Yeah.
I took on the fifth day, I took a rest day because
Yeah.
my feet were feeling it. And I had to kind of regroup a little and retie my shoes
Yeah.
um, and buy some blisters.
Yeah. Did it feel weird buying those shoes that were too big?
Yeah, and but once I figured out, it's called a heel lock lacing system. It's a lot of these shoes have an extra hole, and you don't really
Yeah.
they can lock the heel. And once I did that, but I needed longer laces, so I had to get to a bigger city
Ah,
because the little towns did not have a place to
yeah.
buy shoelaces like
Yeah.
that would fit in
Yeah.
my trail runners. So I bought
Yeah.
them in a Decathlon store in Pamplona.
That's cool. Yeah. We want to stay in Pamplona, Burgos, and Leon, I think, for
Leon.
2 days.
Those are very common
Yeah.
rest days. I almost stayed in Leon as a rest day, but some people that I was kind of my Camino
Yeah.
family was going, and so I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
go with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't take a rest day in Leon, but I think Leon's a city that I think I would like to go back to because there was this thing. Taking a rest day in Burgos was fantastic because they have a really lovely museum. It's called the Museum of Human Revolution, and my friend
Mm.
and I just spent hours in there. And because
Mm.
near Burgos is a archaeological site of
Oh,
Atapuerca,
right.
and
Yeah.
Atapuerca is the oldest known humanoid, like
Yes. I saw
in
that on some of
in
the
Europe.
videos. Right.
So
Yeah.
and it's taught. So Atapuerca is like past Neanderthal, but before what we are now, and it was just some interesting
Yeah.
archaeological stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that on
and
somebody.
and then we took a tour, and I highly recommend taking a tour of that cathedral. It
Hmm.
was very interesting. um it was amazing to see um the um the interesting wealth that the church had.
Yeah.
And I was just it was just so much gold, so much gold.
Yeah. It's so cool to see all that and just I'm sure to feel the vibe of the people that have walked on the path before, like thinking, of what it was like, hundreds of
Yes.
years ago when people had nothing and they're walking that trail and now we're with our backpacks and stuff.
Well,
Like,
and here's the funny thing is like so the Camino is what you make it.
mhm.
What is your thing? So I had a friend who had to take a bus to another city because she was struggling with sciatica, and
Yeah.
someone said, "Oh, well, she's not a real pilgrim."
Yeah.
And but a local said, "What are you talking about?" This local man who's born and raised in northern Spain said, "Of course she's a real pilgrim." He said, "So let me ask you, sir, um, are you walking in sandals?
Mm.
Are you walking in the same outfit all day, every day? Are you eating rotten bread and rotten meat? Because
Mm.
that's what the true pilgrims did in the 10th
Yeah.
century. But
Yeah.
a true pilgrim is anyone that
Yeah.
is coming to experience this."
Yeah.
And so my friend who ended up having to take a bus into Santiago, she walked with me for over a week. She's a pilgrim, and she ended up going. She went to the pilgrim mass in Santiago. They swung the Buddha
Mm. Oh,
Famero,
cool.
and she texted me and said, "Lisa, other than the birth of my children, this was the best day of my life."
And
And
that looks cool, but also terrifying. I don't want to be anywhere near that thing because my husband wants to go do it. We're not religious at all either, but
yeah,
it just looks amazing to
it
go.
does. And I didn't go into that
Yeah,
cathedral. I just had other things I needed to do. I had a
yeah,
broken phone, and
yeah, yeah,
in Santiago I had to take care of stuff, but I'll be
yeah,
back. I know I'm going
yeah.
to do it again.
Well,
Um,
that's the thing. We thought, well, if we like it, we might go do another one. I'm sure, I don't know if you've heard, but they're making the movie, they're
they
making
were
it on the
filming it while
Norte.
I was there.
Were they? Oh,
It's on the Norte.
Norte. Yeah. So that's going to make that one more popular now.
Yeah. So,
Oh, well, thanks so much for sharing
any
everything. I
other
really
questions?
enjoyed
Because I
it.
have
Yeah.
one more slide to share real quick.
Just wanted to hear what's next. What kind of epiphany
Mm.
did you have about what's
Mhm.
happening with Lisa next? Or you said you'll go back. What else did you learn?
Um, so what I learned is before I left, so many women said, "Oh, I could never do that." That's I. You know what, Lisa? I just admire that you're doing this, and what I'm doing, and I'm putting this into my coaching practice is, of course, you can do this. And so part of my coaching process is going to be having women travel solo, whether or not it's just going out to dinner in Denver by themselves or going and walking for 5 weeks. But I also want to be an option to take someone on the Camino, because maybe I'll walk the first week with them and then they'll go and do their own thing. So my epiphany is that I'm going to help women do the Camino. I actually, it'll be part of my coaching. Real quick, I'm going to go ahead and share my last, real quick. So I am offering for someone that, dang it, that someone is interesting. I'm offering a clarity session. It's a tonight only, or because a lot of people dropped off from the email that I sent. It's a 1 hour Zoom session to discover your why, pick your when, map your how, and a personalized Camino next step checklist. And then the $79 for this session applies for a full Camino prep or a guided Camino trip. So I am going to put I'm going to put the link in the comments. Where's the chat? Chat. I don't know why it's not chatting, but hang on. Chat. Here we go. So this is, if anyone is interested in a Camino clarity to figure out, Cora, it sounds like you and your husband have it all dialed in, but I'm happy to answer any questions you have. But that is for anyone that wants to do a Camino clarity call and then put that $79 towards, I can plan it for you, or I can take you on the Camino. I'm probably going to take a group of women next spring, probably the same time you go, Cora. But not everyone can go for 5 weeks. So I'm probably going to do the Camino Portugues. The Camino Portugues from Porto to Santiago de Compostela is 14 days. And most people can do 14 days. If not, there's also options that are 1 week that I'm happy to bring people along to. But that is to answer your question, Penny, my next steps are, I want to bring women to do these kind of things because they just, so as you know, women, we a lot of times identify ourselves as someone's mom, someone's wife, someone's employee, someone's coach. But on the Camino, I was just me. I mean, the first thing you ask people, where are you from? And then, I mean, the last thing we ask people is, what do you do? It was a very interesting thing coming from the world of networking, where it's all, what do you do? What do you do? On the Camino, we asked, where people are from, just so we would know how to communicate, but so, yeah, I am, definitely, that's next for me. And I'm going to go, I want to bring, I have 2 kids and I want to bring at least one of them. The other one, I think would have a little bit too much anxiety over things like, we don't know where we're sleeping tonight. To me, that was part of the fun. Or, just kind of winging things. I think my oldest would not love that. And he even admitted to me one day, Mom, I'm sorry, I just get grumpy when I don't have the right mix of caffeine, calories, and sleep. And the 3 things you don't have guaranteed on the Camino are caffeine, calories, and sleep. So when I told him that, he's like, yeah, maybe I'll just meet you in Santiago.
Yeah.
And Ash and I will go. And we'll probably do, because 20-year-olds don't really have 5 weeks either, because they've got a life. And so I think we'll do the route from Porto, to Porto to Santiago, because honestly, Porto is my new favorite city. I had
I love
never,
the little penguin app. I thought that was cool to be able to kind of follow
That
yeah.
was really
see
cool. I like that too.
see
Oh,
some
I'm
pictures.
so glad. Yeah. So, any other questions or thoughts? And I will, I'm going to send this recording in with an email that I send out tomorrow. And then I may do it again, because I had several people text me, Lisa, what was the link? But they didn't sign up on Eventbrite. So the link
They
came
didn't get the
through
email.
Eventbrite. So
Yeah.
and maybe next time I'll just do my own Zoom. But
Yeah.
Eventbrite just makes me able to reach out to people that I've never met before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I think that was smart.
So
I'm going to jump, but it was
Yeah.
great. I just wanted to see you and hear your stories. So
yeah, and I'll probably see you. Are you going to be at one of the meetings next Tuesday?
I'm not, because I'm actually in California this month. So
Oh.
I'm spending like 3.5 weeks in California. So I'm in house sitting for one of our dot sisters up here. That's one of my clients. And then I'm going down through California, see my brother, go to a wedding. So I won't be
Oh,
back till the 25th, but I'll catch you
yeah, we'll
beginning of the
catch up
month.
another time.
So, okay. All
Awesome.
right. Hi, Decorah. It's good to see you.
Bye. Yeah, you too, Penny.
Anyone else have any questions? Meg, was there any other questions? I loved your questions, were actually very, very helpful.
Yeah, I can see. No, I don't. I'm sure I'll come up with a bunch after this is over. But oh, I guess I have one more final thing. I mean, if there was any literature or website that you might send us to, just to kind of, I'm one of those who likes to immerse and figure out all the what could go wrongs, and then go through the parade of horribles before I head out on a trip.
Yeah, and that was me as well. And so I'm gonna I haven't written up my follow-up email yet, because I'm glad I like to. So what I'm going to do is kind of put some of the I actually met a woman in Barcelona who was doing it, and I gave her a bunch of ideas, and I'll just copy some of the stuff I sent to her,
Okay.
and send it out with the email that I send to the group. But I am happy once I send that out, that email, to answer any questions. And because honestly, this is something I'm really passionate about. I'm really shocked how many women that I talked to before I left that said they would never be able to do this. And yeah, it's scary to travel by yourself someplace. But I met most of the people I think that I connected with were women. A lot of people did it solo. I saw a lot of mothers and sons and fathers and daughters, and but it was a lot of solo people who were walking, and we were never really solo.
Yeah.
You end up, in some ways, you meet more people if you go by yourself.
Well, I think so. If I would have been like with a bestie, I don't think I would have met as many people, because I wouldn't have just like felt like two of us could sit down with someone sitting. Like I would go to a bar or a coffee shop and go, "Can I join you?" And you can tell who are pilgrims and who aren't.
Yeah.
And you just sit down with someone and say, "Hey, where are you from?" And yes, I did meet more people. It also, you don't always want to eat by yourself, so you're like, "Hey, you want to go find some dinner?" My favorite places are the places that had communal meals. Some albergues had communal meals, and that was really fun. And I actually met some of my favorite people at those communal meals. One thing that I really love doing is I met this group at the place that had paella as a communal meal, and we all kind of got. And so we went to the same place. We went to the same albergue the next night, and then one of the girls, she's 28, and she's like, "Oh, it's full moon. I want to do 40 kilometers." I'm like, "No, thank you.
Nope.
I do not want to do 40 kilometers because that's almost a marathon."
Yeah.
But she goes, "So I'm going to get up early and walk under the full moon." And I said, "Well, I'll do that with you." And so 5 of us got up at 4 a.m. and walked in the full moon so that Leah could start her 40-kilometer journey. And then we stopped at like 25-kilometer. We got to the next city around 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It happened to be a market day, so we could wander around the city, and it was this cute little town called Carrion de los Condes, and it was great. It was fun. That, 5 of us walking under the full moon, it was pitch black except for the moon. That was one of my favorite things, and it was just we met by being able to. We all stayed at the same albergues like 3 days in a row just by chance.
Oh, that's so cool. Thanks again. That was so great, Lisa.
Okay, thank you guys, and I will be in touch with an email, and I appreciate you guys' support.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Lynette. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye now. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you as well.